earthquake.
An earthquake? Are you kidding me?
Okay, so that was pretty much my favorite clip from a Saved by the Bell ever, except for when Jesse Spano ODs on caffeine pills. I'm so excited. I'm so scared, Zach. I don't know. If you haven't seen it, YouTube it. It's perfection. Anyway, I wanted to talk today about some information I read up on. About a year and a half ago, I moved from the north, or what many call the Midwest, Minnesota, out to the West Coast. I moved to Oregon and the Pacific Northwest. Once we came here, weather was fabulous. And when I first moved here, I didn't really listen to many of the people that were telling me, get ready, the big earthquake's coming, blah, blah, blah. I just kind of brushed it off. And then with all this talk and with all this research about how, HAARP and the government can control the weather and earthquakes and tsunamis, and that's been proven, and how the weather's increasingly getting bad everywhere. And then if you look on the news or on mainstream media, which I never do, I have a TV, but it's used to game, okay? And we're watching Hulu and Netflix, so I don't even pay attention to the news because I know it's all fake. But there is something to be said about what you can get from seeing what they're pandering to the public. And when I turned on just clips off of YouTube and stuff, and you see that a lot of the news is pushing that there's going to be this megaquake in the Pacific Northwest. And then I started looking into it and trying to figure out what information was factual and what was put out there just to scare people and keep them in fear, stuff like that, because it's been predicted that it's going to happen for a while, so they keep saying it's long overdue. The last mega earthquake, I believe, from this fault line that I'm talking about, this specific Cascadia plate, which is way more significant in magnitude of what it would create over the San Andreas Fault. And they were talking about how the San Andreas Fault has been given to Americans as this myth, like it's the biggest earthquake that could possibly happen in North America and stuff like this, when really it's going to be this Cascadia that's going to affect the whole West Coast. You should look into it, it's insane. But they're predicting, much like when Japan experienced Fukushima and that insanity, that was a 9.0 on the earthquake scale. They're assuming or predicting that the earthquake from Cascadia will be a 9.2, and that it will create a tsunami-like wave that could be anywhere from 100 to upwards of a couple hundred feet in height. And they were saying that along the West Coast, if you're anywhere on or west of the 105, the Highway 105, your city will be obliterated. And Portland, where I am, is part of that. And it just, I get that there's a little bit of fear-mongering in this because it's a way to help control the population. And then you also see them putting all over the news, get ready to obey authority and get ready to go to FEMA camps, basically, like wording this in ways that it'll resonate with their subconscious, but they won't really think about it, kind of like authority has already been trained in FEMA tactics. It's like, well, that's not good. Like, I want to know what exactly is happening, because we can remember back in 2005 or 6 that during Hurricane Katrina, when FEMA was supposed to help everybody down there, many reports of people being shot at, people having their guns taken from them, with the government going door to door collecting weaponry, saying it was for their safety, which doesn't make sense. And then how long it took FEMA to get water and food and extra materials to the Superdome. We can clearly see FEMA's best interest is not the people, it's corralling the people. And then beyond that, we've seen videos of what FEMA camps look like and how they have fucking plastic coffin-like things stacked upwards, housing like thousands of these things. It's insane. We know conditions aren't good, and these FEMA camps are made to keep people in and not allow them out, which doesn't make sense. It should be more to keep things out from getting in rather to keep the people safe. I don't understand how people aren't questioning more. I don't understand how in Japan kids from the age of 5 are raised to learn what to do in case of an earthquake, and it's always in the front of their mind. Like, they're always aware, hey, if you start to feel the ground shake, this is what you do, this is where you go, safety lies here. Well, we don't do that here in America, and if we've known that the Pacific Northwest has supposed to experienced earthquakes for how many decades now, it's insane to me that FEMA isn't utilizing their power of organization to help the people, especially on the West Coast, know what to do in case of an earthquake. And a lot of organizations have been fighting with the US government to try to get preparatory warning signs for America put in place. So like in Japan, they have warning signs that can let you know 15 minutes to 20 minutes prior to an earthquake hitting before the ground even shakes, so you have time to pack up and get out. We don't have that here. Why not? If FEMA's really trying to protect us, why don't we have that? That's like common sense. So all of this stuff kind of swirling around in my head, and I'm talking with my boyfriend back and forth because we're both the kind of people who's like, well, now come on, don't get all riled up over something that hasn't happened and until it does, why? But then on the other hand, we're like, okay, well, we do want to be prepared. We want to know what could happen. We want to know where you wouldn't want to go. And just stuff like that. You know, when you move somewhere and you're not by any friends, you're not by any family, and you really have to just rely on instinct, you kind of want to be a little prepared, you know? So that's where my head is. I was watching one video with this science professor from CUNY, which is the Community University of New York, I believe. I'm not sure what that stands for. One of my exes went there. It was a free college back in the day. Like, I fucking hate New Yorkers. The fact that you got free college and not everybody went there, I would have so gone to free college. Anyway, I don't think it's free anymore, but whatever. This professor from CUNY was talking about how when this shit goes, it's gonna be nutty. Like, there's this fucking WAN plate that's going under a North American Cascadia plate, and once it finally happens and the North American plate slips, it's going to cause something of an energy surplus explosion style that they were saying was equivalent to like nukes going off underground. I don't want to give out any numbers to be factual or anything, but look this up. It's insane. But they were saying that when that happens, when that occurs, all the energy under the earth is expanding outwards, and it's so hot and the energy is so rapid that it melts the ground, so that actually during an earthquake the ground you're standing on turns into a quicksand substance. So I was talking to my boyfriend, like, does that mean that the mountains that we think are going to protect us from tsunami floodwaters and shit like that, because they're, you know, thousands of feet high, are they going to be there, or are they going to slowly kind of just quicksand into the earth? I'm so confused. I'm like, what if we're trying to run and you're like on the street and all of a sudden it's a quicksand pulling you in? Like, this stuff sounds nutty bananas, and I get it, and it's weird, but like, I've never lived through an earthquake. My sister, she moved to California like 15 years ago. She has experienced a couple. I think they were all small, minor. She said you get a little dizzy, you shake around a bit. It's almost like you didn't know what happened, but you know something happened. But this is like the real deal. If a minor little baby bump happens, like, who cares? But yeah, these big ones that are bringing down buildings and gonna open the fucking earth up, like anything Hollywood has never shown us, that does make me a little nervous. But I just wanted to make a video. I didn't know much of this information, and I've lived here for 2 years. This is just one idea of something that could happen, that could potentially throw us into a martial law status, which is probably one of the biggest fears of many Americans that are awake right now. We realize that, this world government that is being formed under the UN, and this weird talks that a 2016 election will never happen, and it was prophesized by Baba, that I did a video on her. I can't remember her name. It was Baba something, but she predicted a black man would be our last president. There would never be an election after that. And many people have slipped up and said anything ranging from this election will never happen to the Queen of England saying enjoy your last Christmas last year. Like, shit's fucking weird. So sometimes it does have me thinking, like, wow, what if overnight the world changes? What if this is my last video, which I'd be hella disappointed in. You guys, I want to bring you some quality shit, and I'm very aware that this like heavy amount of unloading the shit that's in my head isn't always the most fun for video, so I do want to get it somewhere where you're enjoying. But this is therapeutic for me, and please understand I need to do this because otherwise I would go crazy, because the only person I have to talk to this stuff about is you online or my boyfriend, because I don't speak to my family, and my family really closes this shit out. They're like, that doesn't exist, you're crazy. So in order for me not to feel crazy, I like to speak. But with all of this being said, this is not a video to make anybody afraid or scared or, make you think, what will we do? No, it's just kind of to say, hey, this is a conversation I've not had often. This is a conversation I don't think many people in America have often. What would we do in a natural disaster-like occurrence? Even though I hate saying natural disaster, because I do feel like they are controlled. I feel like that HARP thing is so dangerous, and we the common people just have no idea. And then we make each other feel bad for wondering. Like, people out there watching this video are like, oh, you fucking conspiracy theorists with your scary theories. The authority figures of this country, the elite, why would they want to kill us? They love us. Like, I don't believe that. So just understand we're in different realities. But with that being said, take this information, do you, see what you will, and maybe just be prepared. Learn something about what you could do if we one day woke up and had no electricity and the entire country changed. Because it's something to think about. It's weird. We like going to those movies and reading those books. Why not actually be creative and use our minds and think about what we would do to help each other and move forward? Anyway, just a thought. Okay, take care of yourselves today. Have a great weekend. It's my boyfriend's birthday this weekend, y'all. Send him some birthday love. I will see you next week. Love and peace.